Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan TV. Very early on Sunday morning, day after our 2-0 win at Craven Cottage, the home of Fulham Football Club. And yeah, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to do a chat through my day yesterday. And I know some of you have been asking what's it like to go to matches, especially away games, far away. Obviously some of you guys haven't got that opportunity. So I want to relive a little bit of the day yesterday and what it takes to go to away games, and also to review the game itself. So my day started yesterday 4:30 in the morning. That's when I get up. That's when I got up in the morning. It's twofold, because school holidays started for my kids yesterday, and we'll be going over to France actually today. I'm going to be driving over this morning. My wife was working in London, so you know, coming down to London was actually a very good pit stop for me, halfway to Paris. So yeah, so 4:30 up, out the door about 6 o'clock with my two little kids, 10 and 11 years old, and they slept mostly in the car, and I slogged it down to London. So we got here, parked up, and basically dumped my kids with my missus, and they went off out for the day. And I went down to get the tube to, I was meant to go to Putney Bridge, but sadly there were engineering work, so for the last 4 stops couldn't go, so they were telling us to get off at Earl's Court and walk, or get a bus, and the buses were so slow. It's a 40-minute walk, 2 miles, so quite a few fans, City fans and Fulham fans, were making that long trek with me. So we got there, about 10 or 15 minutes before the kick-off, and someone had nabbed me a red and black scarf. Apparently, as a City group, they'd made, I think, was it 1,500 red and black scarves and put them in the away end, and quite sadly some of them went missing, and it was all for to help pay respects to Bernard Halford, the City secretary, long time City fan for over 40 years. I think he was a secretary for the company. Before that, I think he spent several years at Oldham Athletic. So that's what the red and black scarves were for. I mean, he passed away just a few days ago, and I'll come back to that, the tribute to him at the end of the game. So yeah, we got there, team was announced. We had we had Edison, and get me words right. We had Edison in goal, Walker on the right, Zinchenko kept his place on the left. No Ben Mendy in the squad, he didn't even travel. Apparently he's been rested, and he's going to be eased back after his long injuries over the last 2 seasons. Otamendi, Laporte in defence, Gundogan in front of them. KDB was back, nice to see him back. David Silva as captain. And up front we had Bernardo Silva, Aguero and Raheem Sterling. So pretty strong lineup. You know, Dino was on the bench, and that's the only way you could make that team any stronger. Sane was on the bench. I think he's you know, he's going to have to struggle to get his place back now that everybody's fit. He's going to have to really buck up his ideas. But it was a very strong team, and let's be honest, we expected to win that game. Most fans I spoke to expected it to be quite comfortable, and in all truth, it pretty much was. We got going very early for staff, and I think it was 7 minutes that we scored, and it was, I mean, Sergio Aguero might be credited with the assist, but it was all Bernardo Silva. And so Bernardo picked it up on the left-hand side of the box. He cut across the edge of the box, but from what I could see, we were right far away in the corner. And he, I think, went past, didn't actually dribble past, but went sideways past 2 players, and he slotted it into the, from where I was sitting, the bottom left-hand corner. There were 4 or 5 players looked offside, but they weren't really interfering with play. The goal stood. And funny story, there was on the way home, I was chatting to some Irish fans from Dublin, and I don't know how this guy had got a ticket for the home end, and after 7 minutes he started cheering. He jumped up and started cheering, and he got kicked out. And he had a friend with him who was a Fulham fan, so they both left after 7 minutes. So this fella got kicked out, and he was mumbling and grumbling about it 2 or 3 hours after the game. One of the biggest, quickest kicking outs of history. But it's a story for that Dublin guy to tell. It was only his second City game as well, so to get kicked out after 7 minutes, you know, he was drowning his sorrows when I saw him. But anyway, you know, we got that goal, Fulham, they looked too open, and you could see we were always going to create opportunities, half chances. You know, they were really on the back foot. I mean, they had Babel up front with his red hair, and ex-Liverpool, and they had the referee, was it Kevin Friend, in his red shirt. He might as well have been Liverpool. I think he was wearing the shirt, showing his support for Liverpool's title challenge this season, because it looked like he made some pretty poor decisions. He was very lenient early on with some fouls against City players, and very quick to punish City players. I mean, that's not with my blue tinted specs. I think that's just reality. So anyway, I think Babel then got some messages from the sideline from Scotty Parker, and they tried to press a bit more, and they did press a bit more, you know, push with 4 or 5 players to press, but we quite easily beat the press every time. And as soon as you beat that press, once 4 or 5 players are out of position, all they've got left is pretty much their defenders and maybe a holding midfielder, and you're on them. And if you attack with pace and power that we've got, and the technique and the timing of the passes from David Silva and everything else, you're going to cause trouble. So it wasn't too long later on that Bernardo returned the favour. I mean, he did a pass to Serge. I mean, Serge got through 2 defenders. I mean, too easily, really, and he just dinked it over the keeper, over his shoulder as the keeper went down. And I think that kind of goal, I mean, we want to call it a Serge or a Sergio or an Aguero, that kind of goal, because he's been doing it so often. And I've got to say that Fulham, they were the architects of their own downfall, because they were trying to play it out the back. I heard Scotty Parker after the game saying, you know, they were trying to, that's what they're trying to do, be more positive and have the ball. But they weren't good enough. I mean, they've obviously not practiced passing enough and in tight spaces, because they were losing the ball, and both our goals came from them losing the ball. And but it wasn't just them losing it, we were pressuring them, and that caused them to lose the ball. They need a lot more time to get anywhere near good enough to handle this system. And I mean, let's be honest, there, time the Premier League's gone, they'll be going down this season. And you could see the way City do it, it's totally different. You know, we have that confidence, that technique, crisp passes, first time passes, and there's always someone available to pass to, including the goalkeeper, who's not panicked, not phased, not worried. He's calm and collected all the time. And Fulham, they were, you know, not even 10% of what we're doing at passing it around. So 2-0 up. We had other half chances, but you know, that was, I mean, when we got to the second half, that's pretty much it, because we were in effect controlling the game. It was like a training session. It was quite, I don't know if boring's the right word, but it really was. I mean, we weren't really busting the gut to score goals. Serge came off after about, I think, 10 or 11 minutes of the second half. Apparently, it was as a precaution. He felt something, but Pepper said subsequently they won't know till today, but it's just a precaution. Probably, I mean, I think there's nothing in it. I saw him after the game, and when the team were getting on the bus and he was signing autographs, had a couple of selfies taken. He didn't look in any tremendous pain, and he, you know, I don't think from his demeanour that he was injured. You know, most of the players actually just got on the coach, didn't sign anything. But you had a few. You know, Pep, I think, signed a couple of autographs. Bernardo stayed for ages. David Silva came and signed some stuff. So a couple of others. As I said, Serge. Mikel Arteta came, and I was quite surprised. You know, people have accused him of being a bit dour, and but he was in jocular mood, and even laughed at my weak jokes about him dyeing his hair now. You know, his nice jet black hair, and he's just had his birthday. So it was really good. As I said, Bernardo stayed for ages. Raheem Sterling as well. I forgot that he was the first one to stop, and he spent ages. I mean, really ages signing autographs. And I will say this, some of the other players, I mean, you don't need to sign autographs, okay? You're not forced to do it, but at least wave to the crowd. You know, they were there, mostly Fulham fans. Just wave, say hi, you know, or something. Acknowledge them. I think that's the least you should be doing. Can't tell you what to do and how to behave, but I think that's the least you should be doing. And talking about acknowledging the fans, at the end of the game, all the City players and some of the staff, and saw Pep there with the red and black scarves draped around their necks, came up to the away end, and as a tribute to Bernard Halford, as I said, who'd passed away earlier in the week. And the City fans were in very, very good voice, shouting and singing Bernard Halford's name before chants of City, City, City. It was a very touching moment, and for any long-time City supporter, even some new ones, you know, to kind of say goodbye to someone who's been with the club for almost, was it half a century. So that was very nice for the fans and the players to give, and I think they passed a few of the scarves out to the fans as well after the game. I remember Carl Walker tossing his into the crowd, a few others too. So it was, as I said, a very good moment, and it was very nice to see a lot of Blues over from Belfast. I had a chat with a couple of them. You might have caught the videos that came out yesterday with Paul and Gary. Great time chatting with those guys. They love City. I mean, Paul was telling me he gets to about 10 games a season. That's pretty damn good, actually. 10 games a season if you're living in Belfast. And he said it's not cheap, you know, you can only go to so many, but it's great to see the dedication and devotion that those guys have in Belfast for City, and they come over as often as they can. So that's a really nice thing, and big up to those guys. That was Gary and Paul. Yeah, and then after the game, then obviously you got to walk back because I saw some guys from Belfast who were waiting for their taxi. You're not going to get a taxi outside the ground, mate. I mean, they booked it, but you're not going to get it because it's all cordoned off. You've got to wait at least half an hour. And so a lot of fans were walking back to Tube Station. I think we're going to Hammersmith, so I walked that way. My wife sent me a message. She'd taken the kids to Westfield Shopping Centre. They were in Kidzania, and she said, "Oh yeah, come down and meet me here." Yeah, 300 shops, 700 fashion brands, and my wife wants me to meet her there quickly. I tell you what, guys, it's 2.5 miles from Fulham's ground to Westfield Shopping Centre, and I walked every single step of the way. There was no way I was getting there quickly. Spending money on fashion brands and clothes, nah. I mean, I'm happy with this. You can see that I'm happy by my City gear. That's a third kit from a few years ago. Was it 7 years ago? It's first time I had a player's name on my back. That's Micah Richards on the back of this shirt. Always big shout out to Micah. Follows me on Twitter. My claim to fame. I had Bob Wilson following me on Twitter too, and Micah Richards. Can't beat that. Yeah, so I walked every step of the way, stopping whenever I could for something to eat and a drink. So it took me about 3 hours to do that 2.5 miles, and the longer the better. And I got there, what a shame I got there so late that some of the shops were starting to close, and we went out for dinner. So I was knackered last night. I tried to watch Match of the Day. I actually fell asleep listening to I heard the titles, and then I fell asleep, and fortunately I woke up about 15 or 20 minutes later so I could watch the highlights of the City game. But that was the day in the life of a City fan going to games. I mean, to be honest, a lot of the fans were some of them were saying they like the 12:30 kickoff because yes, it's an early start, but you've still got the rest of the day left to yourselves, whether you're staying overnight like I did, or whether you're going back on the train or on the bus. It's quite funny. I was walking back to the station, and the traffic was so slow that there's this City minibus with a load of fellas in it, and singing songs as they went, and honking the horn or whatever, and they weren't walking any faster than me, which was about 2 miles an hour. So but they were in good heart, and another big up for the fans because they were absolutely fantastic, pretty much from the word go right to the end of the game. A lot of songs, Bernardo running down the wing, that was probably the most popular. A lot of singing for Bernard Halford, and lots of chants of City, 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 and the 6-1, and Edge and Dzeko, and the Scousers, that got a few renditions, and the LA. So it was an absolutely fantastic atmosphere as well. Big up to the fans because they really kept it going pretty much all the way through the game, and that's something that you like to see. It's a shame we don't get it as much at home games, but hey, it is what it is. And so, right, that's my day done. That was yesterday, and then today, in an hour or so, I'll get my kids up and start the trek back to France. Hopefully get there this evening. Fingers crossed in time to do a podcast with Bolt from the Blue. Give him a shout out as well if you can listen to his podcast. It's great stuff. You get the tremendously intelligent and fantastic, I can't say anything else, Colin Savage, who's at Prestwich Blue. He really knows his stuff. Very witty, very dry wit sometimes, but very, very knowledgeable on finance, on rules and laws. He's a great listen. FFP, he's your man. He knows more than most. The only people who seem to know more about FFP than Colin are people who are working for UEFA or accountants advising clubs and lawyers and stuff like that. Colin's really your man. Enough of bigging him up. But guys, if you ever get a chance to get to any game, home game, away game for City, you got to do it, especially with the kind of football we're playing now. You know, you don't know how long Pep's going to stick around, and when he's gone, he's gone. And look what happened to, I don't think we'll go the same way as Bayern Munich after Pep left and see their struggles, but you won't get the same level of football, I don't think. You'll get a similar high standard, but it won't be the same as Pep. So get to a game if you can this season, next season, whenever you can. And there's still plenty of tickets left for the FA Cup semi-final against Brighton in London. If you can get to that game, you know, I was reading yesterday, there's still 30 quid tickets available, 30 quid tickets, and transport from Manchester, 20 quid return, provided by the club. I mean, they're doing a discounted coach travel, 20 quid, 30 quid for a ticket, 50 quid all in, bit of food and drink. You know, I know it's not always easy, but if you've never been, or you know, you want to go, for the sake of 70 quid, if you can manage that, it would be absolutely fantastic. I think you'll have a dream day down in London. Fingers crossed we'll win that. But now we roll on to Cardiff. Hopefully we get Dino. I mean, I was just going to mention he came on as sub, and you know, he looks like he'll be just about ready. Will he be thrown in against Cardiff? I don't know. Maybe it's one of those games where you think he doesn't need to be thrown in. He can be, you know, introduced again slowly, play hard, you know, another 30 minutes, and then come maybe a FA Cup final, or maybe he's, you know, we do another semi-final. We do another couple of games where he gets 30 minutes and then he comes back against Spurs. Really don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be a great end to the season, guys. Stick with us. Tell your friends. We're doing pretty much almost every day during the international break. We're doing at least 1 or 2 live streams. Andy and me, Andy on holiday over in Spain and me in sunny Manchester. Well, it weren't really sunny until the end of the international break. And so we'll try and keep doing that. You know, let us know what you want from us. We do it for you, the fans. You know, we take your questions. We answer just about everything. If you're good with us, we're good with you on those live streams. And we've got a nice following of guys who are regulars on those. And yeah, tell your mates. We'll chat with chat football with any fans from other teams. We get Spurs fans there, we get Liverpool fans there, Everton fans, whatever. We're quite happy to chat. And as I said, if you're clean and reasonable with us and respectful, then we give it back in spades. So guys, if you haven't already subscribe to the channel. It's really nice if you do so. You know, we do it, as I said, for you, the fans. There's nothing in it for us apart from the pleasure of bringing you our opinions and getting your opinions and your thoughts and answering your questions and giving information and advice whenever we can when fans want tickets and stuff. So subscribe to the channel, tell your mates. Hey, if you like this video and if you like more, you want more of the same, hit like, and yeah, leave some comments in the comment section below. See you around, Blues.